When you're an aspiring filmmaker, they say that the best camera to use is the one you already own. Shooting a film with just a smartphone is definitely handy, but sometimes the phone by itself is not enough. Here's how you can increase your mobile filmmaking production value with some of these essential gear and accessories. What's up? I'm RJ Bakulo, filmmaker, comic book creator, and mental health ambassador, here to help empower you to tell better visual stories with the best filmmaking tips, tricks, and techniques. The beauty of mobile or smartphone filmmaking is that it provides a very agile and nimble creative workflow. Hollywood filmmaker Steven Soderbergh, director of the popular Ocean 11 movies, as well as 2 feature-length iPhone shot films, liken mobile filmmaking to creating at the speed of thought. Because with little to no setup, you can compose your shot and hit record at an instance. More recently, legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg made headlines when he directed his first music video ever, but he used an iPhone. He literally was just holding a phone, recording in one take, while his wife dollied him in one of those office chairs with wheels. Don't get me wrong, it's exposed well and done in tasteful black and white, but it's definitely no Jurassic Park or Schindler's List. It's kind of a tale of 2 Stevens, where one Steven, considered to be one of the greatest directors of all time, has casually used a smartphone and created something, dare I say, mediocre, and another Steven who understands the strengths and weaknesses of these devices and has consciously utilized and augmented them to tell efficient yet effective and captivating visual stories. No doubt, smartphone cameras these days have amazing video quality that shoot even up to 8K resolution. But these mobile cameras also have their drawbacks and weaknesses. With the help of some additional gear, your personal mobile device can be transformed into a professional filmmaking tool to tell better visual stories. One of the first things you probably should get for your phone is a phone case. Not just to protect your phone from damage or from drops, but also there are certain phone cases out there which actually have a camera lens mount as part of the case. So I've got a few of these cases actually for my iPhone and for my Android. And on these cases, they have a universal 17mm lens thread, which allows me to attach things like filters and lenses, but more about that later. Probably the most famous brand that sells cases with lens mount are Moment, but there's also other brands like Sandmark and Ulanzi who also provide these kind of cases in different lens mounts. Another piece of gear that can help you handle these smartphone cameras is this Ulanzi cap grip, which essentially adds a natural handle or hand grip to your phone so that when you're handling your phone like a camera, it acts just like that, like a traditional camera. And so you just pop in your camera onto the grip here, and there you have this natural hand grip, which also has a shutter trigger, which allows you to hit record just like on a normal camera. What's cool about this one is you can actually detach the trigger so it becomes like a wireless trigger, which is handy for shooting yourself on camera. Also, what comes with this hand grip is a mounting thread underneath where you can put it onto a tripod, or what I've done here is attach my Peak Design wrist strap. And as you can see, it's a much more natural way of holding or handling your camera. If you want to take it a little bit more further, you can use what's called a camera cage or a rig. This one is made by Sanic, which is actually a knockoff of the more famous and expensive Beast Grip cage, but works just the same. It's made out of plastic, which keeps it light but it's still solid, and allows you to hold the camera in a much more natural and sturdier way. And so you just pop your phone in, and what's cool about this one is it comes with its own lens mount as well, so you don't need a case that has one. You can just line that up and attach your lens to it. And of course, there's the usual threads where you can attach it to your tripod, and a cold shoe mount on top where you can attach microphones or lights. Another alternative to the smartphone cage is using an all-metal one like this one made by Newer, which is very heavy duty and solid, and you know it's not going to break. It comes with 3 cold shoe mounts on top, so you can easily add things like lights and microphones and even a top handle if you want. And all around are these 1/4-inch thread mounts, so you can attach pretty much anything to this cage, and you know it's solid. And sometimes what I do is I add an extra hand grip to the cage like this, which gives me even further stability and handling when using my phone as a camera. Lastly, if you're going to use a cage or a grip like this, I do suggest using some kind of quick release mounting system. I use these pretty generic Arca Swiss quick release plates, which allows me to switch my rigs or cameras onto any kind of tripod, mini tripod, or even my gimbal really quickly and easily. One weakness of using a smartphone as a camera is that it has a very light form factor, meaning it's more prone to micro jitters and shakes. And so stabilization is a must. Over here we have a mini tripod made by Andor. This one's made of all metal, very solid. And so you can close it up and use it as a handle actually, or you can spread out the legs and prop it on your desk, table, or chair, or even like a stack of books or something. If you're looking for a more traditional size tripod, I do suggest using this Manfrotto Be-Free Live travel tripod. This one's made out of carbon fiber, which makes it really light and easy to travel with. Also, this tripod has a video fluid head, which allows you to get smoother tilts and pans, very essential to video. Lastly, the ultimate stabilization solution is using a gimbal. Now there's a lot of gimbals out there used specifically for smartphones. My first gimbal was a Zhiyun Smooth Q gimbal, which has served me very well. The only problem with these smartphone gimbals is they're very limited in its weight capacity. For example, this smartphone gimbal only has a 200-gram maximum payload. My iPhone 14 Pro weighs at 210 grams. That's without any cages or lens or filters or even a microphone. So what I suggest is using a gimbal that's traditionally used for mirrorless or DSLR cameras, because their payload is much heavier, which allows you to stabilize your smartphone with additional gear like a cage or lenses without the gimbal struggling to handle its weight. Now, without a doubt, smartphones do capture amazing video footage, but the same can't be said with its audio recording capabilities. Though for some cases it might be enough, especially if you're close to your source, but I do suggest using a microphone with your smartphone camera. A very popular choice is the Rode Video Micro, which is a pretty affordable and small shotgun microphone. So you can easily attach it to a cage like this. Just do make sure you have the right connector to your smartphone, especially if your phone doesn't have a traditional headphone jack. Another great way to capture professional audio with your microphone is to actually use headphones to monitor your audio recording. So you can use something simple as an audio splitter, which allows me to use a microphone with these monitor headphones. If you really want the best professional audio for your mobile film production, then I suggest using what's called a dual system, where you record your audio separately from your video. I use this Zoom H1N audio recorder, where I can attach any kind of microphone like a lavalier microphone or even the built-in microphone that comes with it. The audio quality that comes out of these things, especially with its superior preamps, is a lot better than using the audio recording from your smartphone. So what I would do in post-production in my video editing program is I would match and synchronize the video recording and the audio recording so that they line up together. Now, if you're trying to get cinematic footage out of your smartphone, especially that filmic look, then you have to use an ND filter. An ND filter is like using sunglasses for your camera lens, especially if you're shooting outdoors on a bright sunny day, and you want to maintain that 180-degree shutter rule so that you get that natural motion blur with the shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. This one's a variable ND filter by Nisi. I just attach it to my 17mm thread on my phone case. Another drawback of using smartphone camera, especially if you're trying to capture that cinematic look, is sometimes the phone and the software over sharpens the image and gives it an artificial, unnatural look. A great way to remedy this is using another kind of filter called a black mist or a pro mist filter, which adds a kind of dreamy, hazy look over your image. As we know, most modern cameras these days have more than one camera, such as an ultra-wide camera and a tele-zoom camera. But the problem is, usually these additional cameras are inferior to the main wide camera. The main wide camera usually has the biggest sensor and the widest aperture, which is best for getting the sharpest image and natural depth of field and best low light performance. So what I've always recommended is using external lenses like these and putting it over the main camera or the wide camera. So that way you're utilizing the main sensor to get that telephoto look rather than using the built-in telephoto camera, which has perhaps a less wider aperture or a smaller sensor. Using one of these, you're getting an optically superior image over the built-in telephoto or ultra-wide camera. So these set of lenses are from Ulanzi. This one is a 16mm wide lens. This one's is a 75mm super macro lens, which is super handy. I have a fisheye here, 7.5mm, and a 65mm telephoto. If you really want to get a cinematic look out of your smartphone, there's another kind of lens that you can attach, which is called an anamorphic lens. This one's an Ulanzi 1.33x anamorphic lens, and what it does essentially is give you that true, authentic widescreen image with a super cool anamorphic lens flares. Do keep in mind, if you use one of these, you might need to use a professional camera app that is able to de-squeeze the image in the preview. Otherwise, if you just use a stock camera app, you're going to look at these squashed, skinny looking images. Now, a list of the most essential mobile filmmaking camera gear wouldn't be complete without a list of the most essential mobile professional filmmaking camera apps for your phone, which you can find over here. Until next time, reframe your mind.